HCAM programming is supported by viewers like you. Thank you.
And by Angels Garden Center, growing in Hopkinton since 1957.
And by Hopkinton Drug, an integrative pharmacy and community partner since 1954, providing customized compounded medication in their on-site lab, nutritional supplements, and a knowledgeable staff. Hopkinton Drug, believing food, exercise, and community, along with an integrative approach to medicine, can help you achieve your wellness goals.
This is HCAM TV. Hello everyone, and welcome to Hopkinton Weekly, our HCAM series that helps keep us connected and where we are live most Wednesday evenings at 7 o'clock. Thank you for joining us for updates, conversations, and interviews with those who help make Hopkinton the great place to live that it is. And as you know, that's all of us. This series is the anchor for our Wednesday night lineup of original programming that we are calling Must See HCAM TV. It all starts with new episodes of Sports Talk at 5:30 and HCAM News at 6:30. And then Must See HCAM TV continues after Hopkinton Weekly with a debut time slot at 7:30. That spot can be a new episode of any HCAM program. And tonight, we have a presentation from the Hopkinton Women's Club, and I hope you get a chance to stick around for it. But right now, I am very happy to have Judy Weinthaler here in the studio with me, and we'll be talking all about the Hopkinton Emergency Fund. Later, we'll bring you a clip of some of our recent Diwali coverage that we've been producing. But first, hello, Judy.
Hello, Jim.
Thank you so much for coming into the studio.
Oh, thanks for having us. It's terrific.
All right. Now, we're going to talk about the emergency fund. We're going to get to all of that. But before that, we had a chance to chat for a couple minutes, and it's really, really fascinating hearing your story. So I am interested if you could share, over the course of your experiences and your careers and the different places that you've been living, tell me a little bit about your community-focused volunteerism. What have you been doing?
A lot. And I've always volunteered because I think I'm very much of a people person, and I want to help people, engage with people to improve situations. When we used to live in Amherst, I was an active member of the Amherst League of Women Voters and town meeting, and then we moved to a little town north of Amherst, Leverett, that nobody's ever probably heard of.
And how many people lived there?
1,700. Wow. It was tiny.
Yes.
And so they needed every volunteer they could get. So I was on the Affordable Housing Committee, the Tax Relief Committee. We all went to town meeting, and let's see, we did a study of the fire department, all volunteer. Mm-hmm. And then moved here to be near, retired grandchildren, be near grandchildren. And I just wanted to get involved, and Hopkinton has been so wonderful. It's such a welcoming community, and so many caring, involved people. Mm-hmm. That are doing so much good work. So I became a member of the Hopkinton Women's Club, and now I'm involved and a member of the Hopkinton Freedom Team. Mm-hmm. And starting a couple years ago, the Hopkinton Emergency Fund. Too many, H's here. Hopkinton Emergency Fund. Okay. So.
All right, so that is a lot. Now, I am interested to hear, you've been volunteering for a long time in many different places and many different organizations. Why do you volunteer?
Why not?
Because
no, the question is, I would respond to you,
okay.
Why not volunteer?
Mm-hmm.
Those of us that have some time, or maybe not much time, I just feel that we're all better when we do things as a community and we reach out to our community, we connect. There are all kinds of needs, activities, whether you're volunteering for soccer or the emergency fund. I just think it makes it a richer community so that we're not living in silos, and we recognize how we're all interconnected.
Okay, so very nice, okay, very outward looking, very much thinking about the community surrounding you and being a part of it and being a part of making it a better place. If I could get you to think about this for a minute, right? What benefits to you have you had by all of the volunteerism that you have done in your various communities? How has that been a benefit and something good for Judy?
It makes I get a warm feeling, but because I'm able to help. But beyond that, I have learned so much from the fire department to the emergency fund. I'm also a mentor for a young man at Concord MCI. I have learned from him. I think that met a lot of friends.
That sounds like a very rich life, you know,
Yeah.
very like full of
I'm fortunate.
different people and experiences. And I think that's really important to recognize in today's world, where there can be a tendency to just be so busy and trying to, you know, keep your family afloat and keep your, you know, your head above water, that it can be hard to see past that into all the volunteerism that goes on. And Hopkinton has a lot, so many organizations and different ways to give that, you know, it's just very rich.
I think that there's a lot of organizations that find that it's harder and harder to get volunteers, and there's a little bit of a post-pandemic that people have talked about, and I'll just drop that in because I think a lot of people, we got used to staying at home
Right.
and not engaging, and I think it's a kind of this coming out to actually do things again, and people are rethinking their lives and how they want to spend their time.
Right. I personally have been a little bit surprised at how long it's taking. I have a person that I work with who is always saying, people want to get back to normal, and I don't even know what that is anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, I know what it is. I remember what it was like a few years ago, and I'm ready to get back there. But it just seems like, I don't know, it's just taken a long time. And I wonder, have we forgotten, you know, how it feels and what's going on?
Oh, I think we'll get there.
Yeah, I think we will too. But how long is it going to take? I'm hoping that not too much longer.
Me too.
Well, hey, thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
And hope to talk to you next time. No, just kidding. Just kidding. So
What about the emergency fund?
Exactly. So let's talk
Yeah,
about
okay.
the emergency fund. Now, first off, you're involved in the Hopkinton Women's Club, fantastic organization for over 100 years. That's fantastic. And the emergency fund is really the new kid on the block. Okay?
Very much so.
So what should I ask you first? How did you get involved with it, or what you know about how it came about?
How and why it came about?
Let's start with that, and
Can
then
we
we'll get to
start
you
there?
in there.
Okay, so say even pre-summer of 2020, there was, and I learned this later, that places like Youth and Family Services, PJB, St. Vincent de Paul, Senior Center, were talking about the needs in town, and that PJB can provide, I say stuff, but you know, we all know, I think, all the valuable resources
Yes.
that PJB can provide, tangible things, and Youth and Family Services is, you know, God love them, they're just doing fantastic work supporting people and resources. And St. Vincent de Paul provided some funds, but their resources were limited. And they were finding and said what we really need is to help people with larger expenses, with financial expenses. And the town can't solicit funds, raise money. So the senior center can't, youth and family services can't. So some people came together. Actually, it was he was a college student at the time, Zach Sisitsky.
Yep.
And I think he was probably here.
He was.
In the beginning. Yeah. The article in the Independent looking to start this, and that was in the summer of July 2020. And a group of us came together and went through the whole process of recognizing that financial need, and did the 501c3 and mission and vision, and developed an organization. And our mission is to provide emergency, temporary financial assistance just to Hopkinton residents to help in times of emergencies. Mm-hmm. And we work, I missed a key part, mm-hmm. in conjunction with our partners in the community, which are the organizations I just mentioned, St. Vincent de Paul, PJB,
yep.
Youth and Family, and the Senior Center.
Okay.
And so we began, and we coordinated it. We developed all the forms and the referrals and all, and started soliciting for funds in March of 2021, and provided our first grant in April. So
now, did HEF find you, or did you find the HEF?
No, I found them in response to the article in the newspaper, and they had an information session, and I said, this is great, mm-hmm. because as in my background as a social worker, I knew the financial stress.
Now, so HEF fundraises, distributes the money. Are you involved in the finding of the people who need help, or vetting them? How does that process work?
Let me tell you the whole process.
Okay.
First of all, anonymity is right up there, because we want to respect people's dignity and privacy. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes it's hard for people to say, I need help, and because we're all very proud that we can take care of ourselves and our family. So here's how the process works in a nutshell. We have the 4 partners, and they work with individuals who have gone there to Youth and Family for some kind of resources or counseling, to PJB, whatever. And those organizations can provide the tangible items, maybe a little bit of money, but it's beyond what they can do. Mm-hmm. They refer the individual to us. We've got a whole referral form. And anonymously, we don't know the name, they give us a description of the need. And we work with them in terms of our criteria for funding, and they, pardon the use of the term, I hate it, vet, mm-hmm. They know. And so that when we get a referral, we know it's a real need.
Okay, yep.
And that they are working with the family and will continue to support them. Mm-hmm. There's another grant coordinator and I, we review it, we get additional information if we need to, we then will say, yes, let's go forward with this, and then there's a funding committee, and we review it and decide to fund it, mm-hmm. and then we only write checks to vendors, to the rental agency, to the car repair place, to the doctor or whatever, mm-hmm. and then physically hand the check to, if it's Dawn or Colleen at Youth and Family, hand the check to them. They then will give it to the client, and it's made out, and it's just an assistance. to give to the rental agency, so it's not like, oh, here, I'm getting assistance, whatever.
Okay.
So it preserves the anonymity.
Yep. Okay. Now, I don't know if I got a little bit too ahead of myself because I know what the HEF is, but just in case somebody doesn't, could you, in a nutshell, describe your mission and vision, how you describe it?
Yeah, as I said, the mission is to provide emergency financial assistance to Hopkinton residents in times of emergencies.
Okay.
To elaborate, emergencies. We all have emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
Many, many people in Hopkinton can have some emergency funds of their own.
Mm-hmm.
People that are living kind of paycheck to paycheck can't. So the emergencies have to be basic needs, such as housing, medical, some other health, medical insurance, health, utilities, cars. I think that's about
Okay.
it. And, and our vision is that Hopkinton will recognize as a community our responsibility to provide assistance to all of our residents who want to continue to live here just for the same reason that we moved here.
Right.
The schools, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So.
And I mean, I don't know how much you can talk about some examples, but it is, it can be the difference of $1,000 between being able to just continue your life and continue to be here in your home or not. And I mean, that amount of money could really set somebody back for years trying to recoup it because it's a domino effect.
Exactly.
You don't have the car, you don't have the job. You don't have the job, you don't have the rent. You don't have the rent, where are you going to be?
You get evicted.
Yeah, exactly.
And we started this at just the right, I wish we had started it a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But there was, during the pandemic, there was still some of the pandemic money. We've seen a real increase. But, okay, no, we can't report the details,
Okay.
Jim. But I can tell you the kind of situations, so many, I'd say 3/4, 7/8 most, are for rent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I found a statistic that between 2010 and 2020, rent in Hopkinton went up 73%.
Wow.
Jaw-dropping.
Wow.
The median rent, this was a Metro West survey, in Hopkinton is right now $1,800. And
Wow.
that's a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
people are spending 1/3 of their income on rent. So all it takes, and there's been a lot of death, if there's a 2-parent household, death of a partner, illness of a partner, one person loses a job, single parent, health difficulties, lose a job, applying for unemployment, can't pay the rent because unemployment approval is so delayed. You mentioned cars. Cars and rent are our two. Rent is the top, car is next. And we know that cars are absolutely critical around here with no public transportation. People that they had just gotten a job and then the car broke down and they had to quit the job. An individual on dialysis or some major medical need, car broke down, elderly person, has to get to medical
Yep.
appointments. I mean, plus transporting kids
Right.
and all that. There's been some for help with utilities, but there were a number of times, and it's just kind of heartwarming that we prevented eviction.
Yes. Yeah. Now, in generalities, are you seeing all ages and stages of life and different situations with families, with single people? Do you even know?
I don't know age. Well, I do know.
Okay.
If a referral comes from the senior center, it's a pretty good clue.
Yes.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
But there are a lot of families with young children.
Okay.
Also, a lot of families that have children with special needs.
Mm-hmm.
And so they really don't want to leave the Hopkinton school system.
Yes.
Single parents, two parents, mostly families.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it seems pretty straightforward. Money in, money out. You described the money outside. Where are you getting your money inside?
Not enough. No. No,
Okay.
we got some. And before you leave the money out, and I'm pulling out my card so I don't get my numbers wrong.
Okay.
So we started in giving awards, grants in April of 21, and between April and December of that calendar year, we dispersed $6,681, and the average award was $800. Between January until the beginning of November, we dispersed $23,400, and the range of awards was between $1,100 and $1,000, and rent,
Yeah.
high rents.
Yep.
And so we've given out over $30,000 at this point. Where do we get our money? From businesses in town, donors who have been, individual donors who have been very generous, a couple of grants, Marathon, Marathon Bib.
Okay. All right. Now, if people are finding out about you and say, I want to know more and I want to know what I can do, is there anything beyond writing checks, and how do they find out more?
How do they find out more is go to our, I think probably the easiest thing, go to our website. There's a contact us that is not used for individuals applying because they have to go through the other partners first. But just general information, yep, and somebody will, myself or somebody else will get back to them. And we have, we're formalizing it. We're still new. We're a bunch of volunteers, and so we don't have staff, and our overhead is practically zero. We want to formalize committees, and so we would welcome and desperately need people in the community to step forward and help us if they have any interest or expertise in fundraising, in marketing, in graphics. They don't have to join the board, but just task specific, and we hope that people can get involved.
Okay. What do you have coming up? Anything on the horizon?
We were actually at our board meeting last night, we were trying to sketch out a calendar.
Okay.
We don't have any major events. We just finished one. You mentioned the Women's Club.
Yep.
Or I did. The Women's Club, and we had a very successful joint venture with the Women's Club to do the golf tournament, which you heard about.
Yes.
And it was great.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it again. I think it's next September. And then we'll be at what's coming up over the winter. I don't know. We're you can tell I'm hesitating because we're struggling with how to get the message out there.
Okay.
And
I understand. So it'll be on the website when it's
oh
formulated.
yeah, you'll be the first. You'll be the first to know.
Right. All right. Well, that is pretty much our time.
Oh.
And I'd like to thank you very much,
Thank you so much
for being here, but more importantly, for doing the work that you do to help make our community the great place that it is.
Thank you, Jim, for having us. This really is wonderful.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. And now we have been covering some of the Diwali events here in Hopkinton, and we have another one coming up on December 10th. But I'd like to share with you some footage that we pulled from the events that we've already covered. So please enjoy.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming here and making this feel so festive. Because actually, like at the heart of it, Diwali is not just about lights and fireworks and food and sweets. Well, who am I kidding? But it's mainly about getting our together with our friends, with our family, with the community, and there's nothing like just again getting together and starting this new beginning. That's what really Diwali represents: is the start of a new beginning, letting bygones be bygones, and just celebrating with again lighting this lamp, which is a representation of brightness over darkness, good over evil, and hope over despair. So with that, I would like to call upon Irfan and Shahidul, our select board members, to come and light the diya and kickstart the evening. And thank you again. Happy Diwali, everyone.
And that's all we have for tonight. Hope you really enjoyed that footage and check out the actual shows. Please keep talking and be in touch. You can reach us by sending email to weekly@hcam.tv or give us a call at 508-435-7887 or on all the usual social media. And stay tuned. Directly following Hopkinton Weekly is our time slot called Debut, where we run new episodes of our programs. So stay tuned for a new presentation from the Hopkinton Women's Club. Take care, everyone.